A warm welcome back to your latest industry recap. Some exciting news surrounding the Airbus A350 at Emirates, more news over at Japan Airlines who are ordering aircraft, and some frustrations in regards to aircraft delivery delays. Why not begin there? With Akasa Air, a newly launched company in India, become the latest to publicly discuss the impact it's facing from ongoing delays in acquiring new 737 MAX jets from Boeing. In what is being described as a growing crisis, Akasa Air is forced to ground pilots and adjust its growth targets due to an inability to acquire next-gen planes on time. The company, which entered the industry only in the last couple of years, has really attempted to capitalize on the increasing demand following the global pandemic and the misfortunes of maybe some of your other established airlines that call India home. However, its ability to meet this demand and continue with its growth plans has been massively hindered as Boeing faces output rate caps placed on the 737 MAX, therefore preventing it from meeting the previously arranged delivery timeframes put forward to airline customers. Akasa Air are frustrated. This feeling has become more than apparent, but it certainly is not an isolated one. While the airline remains in close communication with Boeing over the delays, similar to its counterpart Air India, its hands are firmly tied behind its back. As a result, it can't really do too much to mitigate the inability to take on jets such as the brand new 737 MAX. Therefore, while communication, don't get me wrong, is great, it doesn't really fix all the problems, and the sense of urgency across the business has been increasing tenfold as its ability to expand is being pushed back, hindering its potential future in a really competitive space where you simply can't falter. Akasa Air is an example of an airline facing a different set of challenges that stem from the broader industry's inability to have planes delivered on time. So often when I examine airlines that can't acquire aircraft, I am talking really about your global powerhouse airlines that do have other aircraft or the ability to get other aircraft on relatively quickly. We don't often look at the little guys, maybe the airlines that are just starting out, and the core impact that it can have for them. Now, don't get me wrong, Akasa Air is not an airline with only 3 aircraft, and it has some hundreds of planes on order, with a massive reliance on the 737 MAX. But it's growing, and its expectations are huge. It is still attempting to start up and really cement its place within the industry for the long term. So these delays are having a catastrophic impact on its ability to do this, while really cementing its place and establishing itself for the long run. Driven by that very inability I speak of to take on new planes, they've been forced to ground around 40% of their workforce. A great deal of this is your pilots who would have been expected to fly on the new MAX jets that were meant to be delivered, but obviously have not been at the rate that they would have wanted. And with careers and income being now affected, the airline is very much aware of the broader impact the groundings will have on the workforce across the long haul. But there's not really all that much it can do. It, yes, can continue to keep a dialogue open with Boeing and try consistently get updates, but again, it isn't going to just change what's unfolding. Over to more exciting news where Japan Airlines has confirmed it'll order additional aircraft as part of plans to support its growth across the upcoming decade. As part of this bid to renew the fleet, the company confirmed the introduction of 12 additional 737 MAX jets, with the 737-8 being selected. The latest arrangement is an important one. It follows a purchase in March 2023 for the MAX as well, and really focuses in on the 737-8 being the perfect plane to replace the 737-800, part of the 737NG series in the 737 family, and I'm focusing more on domestic routes in terms of your like-for-like replacement. While these planes are being introduced, the airline will see really the introduction of 90 new aircraft spread across the JAL group, with the 737 MAX program, the popular single-aisle jet, to very much carry them forward in the future. These orders that Japan Airlines are placing are really crucial if they are going to achieve anywhere near their targets outlined for the 2030s. You've got to remember that delivery slots are continuously getting snapped up by other established airlines. So as a result, in a situation that Japan Airlines find themselves in, they need to confirm their aircraft purchases sooner rather than later to make sure that they can get the delivery slots that they need. So when the time comes in 2032 and the capacity is required, those delivery slots have already been nailed down, and JAL doesn't find itself without the necessary capacity. Obviously, there's only so much they can do, and neither me nor you can totally predict what is going to happen in 10 years' time, but at the very least, they can get prepared for that. Under the current confirmed aircraft orders, 38 of the the 737-8 type are expected to be delivered next year to serve the domestic network. Away from a commitment to Boeing, they also said that they would introduce 11 of your A321neos to enhance single-aisle flying that a little bit further. Delivery is slated to commence in 2028, permitting no hiccups between now and then in actually facilitating the delivery of those 11 units. Japan Airlines is pretty optimistic that the A321neo will actually play a very important role in fleet renewal efforts, not just by meeting overall growing demand, by helping replace existing planes. So the major difference between the introduction of the A321neo and the 737 MAX to me is in the aircraft that they are intending on replacing. See, Japan Airlines says that the A321neo's introduction will be crucial for replacing a workhorse in the 767. While yes, it's a fantastic piece of the Japanese aviation industry and is still even flown over at ANA, it is continuing to age and replacements are necessary. So therefore, you're looking at these A321neos to really be based from Tokyo, Haneda, with deliveries from 2028 onwards. Over to the final story, and Emirates is expanding its Airbus A350 network with the introduction of 7 more destinations across the network. The latest additions to this will come from mid-year and complement some of your more existing locations that will take place. Well, these services are obviously going to attract the most attention as they are the latest and fresh announcement. It isn't necessarily the end of the continued announcements, because while Emirates has just brought on the A350, it said that it's going to add extra layers to services to Bahrain and Kuwait to ensure that almost year-round operations will be offered on multiple flights per day with the new aircraft. These two markets that I just mentioned were actually among the very first to welcome the next generation jet, and Emirates says the reception has been really positive, so therefore it wants to be fully committed to these markets with the state-of-the-art plane, so therefore increasing its service. In terms of some of the new cities that are going to welcome on the A350, you're going to range from 6 times a week to daily. A lot of the frequency is going to adjust in due course. Remember, Emirates doesn't have the largest amount of, say, A350s at its disposal as of yet, so really with every few months or so, you can expect more destinations to continue being added, whether it ranges from Amman to the likes of Ho Chi Minh City in Asia, even extending to Baghdad and Oslo. These are just some of the many destinations, whether it is going to commence in June, July, August, or onwards to September. The thing is, it can be hard to keep track of. The A350 is going to play a really important role in Emirates across future decades, and they've got quite a few aircraft on order, so they're only going to continue growing that. In fact, they make that very clear in their overall press release, stating that we should expect many more announcements in cities. So I'd like to put it over to you. If you're going to pick a city where you'd like to see the Airbus A350 with Emirates fly, let me know. Maybe that's where you live, maybe that's a city you believe would benefit from a more regional wide-body aircraft, rather than focusing on a 777 or A380 type plane. Again, just let me know down below in the comments. Thanks very much for tuning into this aviation recap. Your support is, as always, very much appreciated. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.
And we'll fly.